This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. A small personal project where I try to reimagine the classic SNES JRPG Chrono Trigger in modern 3D, just for fun. For now, I'm focusing on recreating the Millennial Fair, which is the opening chapter. Looking at the colors, the music, and the little details that made it so iconic. I'll be using Unreal Engine 5 and the MetaHumans plugin, along with a bit of Blender and some of Fab's pre-made assets. Now, I should mention that this isn't an official remake or anything commercial. It's just a fan experiment to see how far I can reimagine and reinvent the level design and atmosphere of one of my favorite childhood games, in the same way Final Fantasy Remake or Rebirth did for FF7. In this first episode, I'll be designing Crono himself, plus the layout and mood of the Millennial Fair. We'll be looking at modeling, textures, lighting, and the overall Unreal Engine setup. If you like this kind of project, feel free to like this video and subscribe to follow along. I'll be posting progress videos as I go. Let's start off with the character creation using MetaHumans. I started off with a preset of an Asian male because I liked his facial features, and reset his head customization parameters to make him look a bit younger and less, well, Asian? I changed his eyebrows, removed his mustache and his beard, and got to sculpting. It's actually quite extensive how well you can change each part of the MetaHuman's face and body, so it took me a while to get a good grasp on what I wanted, and after playing with it for a while, I ended up with something like this. I tried to make the face and body of a 20-year-old male, even though a lot of sources say Crono is supposed to be 17, but I don't think it's mentioned anywhere in the game. Still, my MetaHuman looks a bit feminine for my liking, so I decided to make him a bit more manly in the next iteration. But for now, I was happy with this, and I started getting him dressed to look more like the actual character. I found an existing anime hair asset called a groom, and with some light tweaking, I was able to make it look a bit more like Crono's hair. On the Fab marketplace, I also found a medieval tunic outfit, which had all the basic makings of a Crono outfit. With a bit of color customization, I was able to make the clothes match the character. The one major difference is the long sleeves, but when I tried cutting them off in the mesh editor, the MetaHuman's arms disappeared. Sadly, I didn't want to spend too much time on this because, to be honest, I don't really give a crap about learning how to make clothing in Unreal Engine. I would much rather spend my precious time elsewhere. If someone knows an easy fix for this though, let me know in the comments. Now, after making his hair a bit thicker, I had something like this, which is not bad. But he was still missing some key pieces like the yellow scarf, the sword and scabbard, and the white headband, but I'll add those later. So let's see how this looks in a prototype level. Ooh, sexy. Okay, so I guess if this is going to be anything near a AAA game, he's probably going to need some animations. I created an animation blueprint and retargeted the existing Unreal 5 mannequins animation to my character, and I got this. You can see it kind of works sometimes, but even when it does, it looks really janky. The problem, I think, was that the bones of the skeleton of the UE5 mannequin were not completely compatible with my MetaHuman. They're supposed to be, but I think I may have screwed them up playing around with the outfit, so I decided to try something else. Epic has this free pack called Game Animation Sample on the Fab Marketplace, which has really advanced movement and this whole parkour mechanics thing already set up, and it feels so good moving around in there. So I thought if I could somehow add my metahuman to that pack, I would have something pretty sweet. So that's what I did. I created a new, more masculine metahuman, customized it again, followed a few animation and retargeting tutorials, and voila! Now check this out. Pretty damn cool, eh? Crono still needs his last little touches to really shine before moving on to the level design, so I added a yellow scarf and I used a Blender model for the headband, which I tweaked a bit using Unreal's cloth simulation. I added a katana and a sheath at his hip, and just like that, we have a main character ready to be transported to the Millennial Fair. But before jumping straight into level design, I wanted to take a step back and analyze the world. Not just recreate it, but rethink how it would actually work in a modern game. In the original Chrono Trigger, the world map was charming, but also pretty disconnected. You'd have a handful of houses scattered far from the main square, the castle sitting way off on its own, and the cathedral out in the woods somewhere. It looked great for exploration back then, and I can totally imagine the original designer being eager to show off the new world map to players as fast as possible. But if we're going to create something more realistic and cohesive, it doesn't make much sense. In reality, all of these locations, you know, the market, the cathedral, the castle, would all be part of the same city. The castle would be central, surrounded by walls or a forest, and the fair would happen just outside the palace grounds or in a large plaza inside the city walls. So instead of just copying the old layout, I decided to start by finding an asset pack that could bring all of those elements together in a believable way. I ended up finding a bazaar pack, which is more inspired by Islamic architecture. Not exactly medieval European, but it had a lot of great detail and atmosphere I could customize to get closer to the look of the original Millennial Fair. We'll come back to the world map later, once the fair and the castle are in place, but for now I wanted to focus on creating a space that feels real and believable. Something that could actually exist inside Guardia Kingdom. At first, the pack was very grimy, lots of sand and dirt stains, lots of broken junk scattered all over the place. The default level also had a sandstorm in progress with lots of flying debris. I mean, I'm all for particle effects, but this is just too much. Before doing anything else, I needed to clean it up, remove the junk, remove a lot of the decay and broken architecture, remove anything that looked even remotely Arabic. I also disabled the sandstorm, toned down the wind, changed the color of the sky to a nice sunny day, and cleaned up the cobblestone streets. I removed the dead grass and created a newer, greener blade of grass to match the original game. And I started adding in details like the central fountain at the fair's entrance. Next, I changed all the merchants' cloth awnings to match the game's red, pink, orange, and blue, and created a custom circus tent just like the original game. Of course, it being a fair, I needed balloons, so I made those too, by removing the gravity on the balloon mesh itself and tethering the cable to an anchor point. I added a bit of upwards pressure, and after a bit of tweaking, my balloons were finally working, and I could work on adding the iconic purple skull tent, which, if you look closely, is just 4 tents mashed together. So, hey, if we're being true to the game, well, you know, there you go. The original game also has these large wooden posts all over the square, so I added those too. What the heck? And now, at this point, I was only thinking about the city and not the forest. You know, in our vision, Guardia Forest would wrap around the city walls, and there would be a main entrance through the square. So I imported a foliage asset pack and got to work creating a realistic landscape. From the player's angle, you wouldn't see all these missing holes and stuff. When you're making an actual game, it's important to only spawn in what's absolutely necessary for optimization. Here, I'm just kind of painting everywhere because the game's not really optimized. Heck, it's not even a real game, so I don't really care. But I'm just saying, it only has to look good from the player's perspective. So at least I had something now, and I wasn't satisfied with it yet, but you know, I was going to redo this part later when the level design was done. Speaking of level design, let's talk about what the player has to do in the original game. He has to get to the fair, bump into Marl, explore a bit before the path north opens up to the teleporters. There's the singing robot on the left side of the map, and there's the purple skull tent and the prehistoric dancers on the right side of the map. Now, keep in mind that this is a 3D game with parkour mechanics now, so this new level has to have some verticality to it, or else there's no point in reimagining it in a 3D space. We can't copy it exactly as it was. That would be pointless. So in our new Millennial Fair, we're going to have 3 levels: the ground, the second floor, and the top floor, and they'll be joined in different places by stairs and or parkouring mechanics. That means we can hide some treasure in a lot of these hard to reach places. What's an RPG without secret chests, right? So let's create those and add them in a few super secret locations. Yeah, alright. Yeah, alright. Back to level design. So after a bit of work, I connected all of these spaces together in a fun new way while staying true to the original layout. On the left, there's the singing robot hiding on top of a rooftop. We'll add the JRPG style turn-based battles in the next video so we can actually fight this guy. And on the first floor to the right is the purple skull tent and a new zone for the blacksmith. There is a market vendor in the original game in the town. Now he's just in the square where he would likely be anyways. And just above that, there's another new secret zone, the winery. And on the third floor, the stage for the prehistoric dancers. To the north of the main square, there's the room where, after bumping into Marl, which we'll try to create in the next video as well, you would be able to access and come meet Luca, her dad, and her famous teleporters, which kick off the whole damn game. Look at these cool-ass teleporters I found for free on Fab. I just had to tweak the lighting a bit, but man, they look so cool. On a little side note, if you like my game design process and you want to see an actual game I've made, check out Runes of the Abyss on Steam. Runes of the Abyss is a turn-based roguelike with JRPG-style combat, and I've been working on this game on and off for about a year and a half now, but it'll be releasing soon, so wishlist it if that's the kind of thing you're into. Now, back to Chrono Trigger. Okay, so that was a lot of work. For nothing? No, I'm just kidding. I actually had a blast doing this. I think I'm probably going to continue building it out, unless I get a cease and desist letter from Nintendo or something. All that's left for now is a bit of marketplace ambient chatter and the original Millennial Fair tune, and let's see the final result. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the next part. I'll see you next time.